everyone, it's Cathy Zielske. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I've got a few card projects to share with you featuring a simple approach to adding some papers to the background of your die cut. The cool thing about this is that it looks more complicated than it really is, because your die is going to cut out these intricate backgrounds for you. You just have to pick out different papers and do just a tiny bit of ink blending to complete the projects. So let's take a look at the products that I'm using today. The die is called the Sunflower Frame, and this is a die from Simon Says Stamp. It's a nice size for a card front, and it will cut out a beautiful flower for you. I've got a little bit of Gina ink and Gina embossing ink, a couple little blender brushes to add some color to the petals of my flower, and a little bit of white embossing powder from Simon Says Stamp. I'm going to be using a sentiment from my set, Clean Line Every Day. For the card that I'm showing you on camera today, I'm going to be using a piece of pattern paper from this really rainbow paper pad from Fawn. I love this collection of rainbow patterns, and I thought this would make a gorgeous inlay for my die cut. I'm also going to be using some Neenah Solar White in the 110 pound and a few other things as we go. The first thing I need to do is start cutting out some of these frames. So I'm using the 110 pound for all of the pieces that I'm going to cut out. This comes out pretty nicely. I do like to go back and forth a little to get clean cuts. And I'll cut out several of these, and then I will poke out some of them just like this. I like to use a little piece of foam and my Tim Holtz craft pick. Just work my way around. This is a delicate frame, so you don't want to bend it, but here's what's cool. With this craft pick, if you just poke down into the leaves, it will poke them right out, and it's just a nice quick way to get them all cut out. Now I want to frame out my background. I like the warmer side of the rainbow on this paper, plus it will let me save the rest of that paper. And this Gina Sweet Mango ink is what I'm going to use on my petals. I need to take the die and then take the pattern paper and go ahead and run that through so that I can get the background pieces that will look just like this. I'm not going to keep that frame. It got a little warped and bent as I was taking things out, but that's what I'm going to use to fill in the background of the die. Now I've taken another die cut here and just kept it all together for now, and I'm layering in some color on the petals. I'm doing a nice soft blend from the center out. And then I'm taking this tiny blender brush and coming in right at the base of each petal because I want it to have a little bit of a gradient going up. And I find for myself, I'm not a master ink blender, but give me one ink color and it's hard for me to screw it up. Well, that's not completely true, but this is pretty easy to do. I'm going to set that aside to dry. Now it's time to fill in one of the die cuts. And I'm placing them in, and I'm just using purple tape. I think purple tape is fantastic. And for something like this, especially for a card project, no one's going to see the purple tape. And this stuff is sticky, it's easy to work with, and I'm covering the entire area of the petals so that when I flip it over, all that purple tape is waiting to hold the petals that I'm going to pop out one at a time. So each one comes out, I use my little pick-me-up sticky tool and place them inside the die cut just like that. Gonna work my way around, and you can see that nice little bit of shadowing towards the base of each petal, and I think that looks really great against that background. All right, moving on. I'm going to take some liquid glue here. This is Connect glue. There are many ways you can adhere die cuts together, but sometimes on a very delicate piece like this, I want to have a little bit of playtime, and liquid glue does let you move a little because I want to stack these two together, then repeat, add glue all over the back, and then adhere that down just like this. So now I have a little depth and dimension on top of all that color. I'll take a clear acrylic block, just press that down and set it aside so it can really adhere. Now for my sentiment, I've just got a piece of Hero Arts cardstock, very black. I'm going to powder it up and stamp down my little tiny sentiment, sprinkle on my powder, and tap it off. I'll take a brush to that too to kind of clean it up off camera because the powder really does want to stick. I'm going to heat set it very quickly. And once the powder is smooth and melted, I'm going to use one of my Simon sentiment labels to cut it out. And then once that's cut out, I like to tape down the strip, take the notch, tape that down right to the plate so nothing moves, and it gives me a perfectly cut little fishtail, just like that. Next, I'll score my card base at 5.5. This will be a top folding card, but I am not going to fold it because I want to stamp a big sentiment on the inside. Gonna take the congrats and get that positioned. And here's the cool thing about the MISTI tool. You can have things hanging outside of the MISTI, and when you go to stamp them, it's not going to bend whatever cardstock is hanging out. So I'm taking the same sweet mango, gonna ink up the congrats, go ahead and press that down. Again, the cardstock at the top is perfectly safe, and I didn't get a great impression the first time. My stamp's pretty new, so beauty of the MISTI, ink it up, stamp it again, and that looks great. I'll go ahead now and fold it down and press that with my bone folder, and then I always like to take a little bit of purple tape on the inside just because I like my cards to be flat when I'm trying to adhere things to the fronts. I'll add some liquid adhesive to the panel and press that down. Looks pretty lined up. I'll put a brick on that. Again, let that set up. To finish off the card, I'm popping up the little sentiment just like that. And that is the finished card project. I really like how this turned out. I want to show you another project using a piece of paper from a paper pad that I recently did a scrapbook page, which I will actually link to if you are interested in seeing that. But I thought this was cool. I took some innocent pink cardstock and matching ink and did the same blending. And then I did a more neutral project here where I just kept all with the innocent pink. But I did stamp the big background here and emboss that in clear ink just to get a little bit of shine. But this is a very monochromatic approach to putting in a different background for your die cut. 3 different cards, 1 die, and I think they all look a little bit more involved than they actually are. It's a really simple way to take a die cut and really have some fun with it. Thanks so much for watching today. I would love to have you become a subscriber to my channel, and be sure to hit the gray bell below this video so that you don't miss anything that I post.